The DK Bananza Direct released on the 17th of June, nearly 2 weeks after the release of the Switch 2, and it's a no-brainer, many people watched it. All neutral gamers, Nintendo fans, and Nintendo haters alike watched the Direct. And the Direct was so popular to the point that people revisited the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. Yes guys, you will always have a chance to check out the Switch 2 experience every time a new Switch 2 game is showcased, and you can actually check those calendars in Nintendo Today. I even both watched and analyzed the video along with my buddy Razi. I even recorded and edited a video of our reaction, so make sure to go check it out. And like I said before, we've made an analysis of the DK Bananza Direct, but there were missing points that we did not mention during the video, which is why I am going to talk about them in this video. And oh my god, do I have a lot of analysis to share with you. You can even tell from the amount of chapters I put in this video. Also, there are pointers that I am going to mention that don't really count as analysis, but rather general pointers about the game that should be known by the public. Such as the fact that the game was actually developed by the same team that developed Mario Odyssey. And that by itself raised a lot of concerns. Because despite Mario Odyssey seeming like a good game, compared to one of the biggest 3D projects such as Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, it makes Mario Odyssey feel like a lesser 3D Mario game. And it was kinda. And the dialogue level was pretty much compared to Mario Galaxy 2. It was just too straightforward with no story behind it. And yeah, despite how the worlds are kinda big in Mario Odyssey, it isn't really big enough to call it an open world. In fact, the way they laid out those worlds makes it look very static compared to the open world games, such as Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. But then again, the idea of having a Cap partner such as Cappy is incredible. Although limited to the creatures that don't have hats, Cappy can assist Mario by giving him the ability to possess both objects and enemies alike, which gives Mario a variety of options to use a variety of powers, although it is limited to the areas where the enemies and objects exist. But he also helps Mario in his platforming journey. In fact, Cappy's platforming abilities is why a lot of skilled players and speedrunners are enjoying the game, to the point where YouTuber speedrunners such as Small Enter CJ played a multiplayer mod for Mario Odyssey, and I really hope that Nintendo doesn't report them for this. To summarize things up, Mario Odyssey is a very fun game, but that only applies to a section of Mario fans and speedrunners and not the general gaming fan base. This is why people are speculating that DK Bananza is going to end up the same way, but after watching the Direct, I can assure you that it won't. Now, why did I discuss those 3 disadvantages to Mario Odyssey is because DK Bananza does the total opposite. So like I said before, Mario Odyssey has some level of dialogue, although it doesn't really feel like a story. But through the few cutscenes that they showed us during the Direct, we noticed that there's an actual plot to the game. And it's not just limited to dialogues, but it also expands to story-like cutscenes. It actually feels like you're living in a storybook. And unlike Mario Odyssey, every character has a voice. Now, I didn't put it in the reaction video of our analysis before, but somewhere in this video, Razi mentioned that only Pauline has a voice in this video. And I agreed with him for a while since I didn't really hear the voices of the other Kongs and other characters until I played this specific scene again. So as you can see in this part of the video, Void Kong pretty much has a voice. And it's not just gibberish like all the NPCs, but an actual dialogue voice. So don't take my word for it, but by that logic, I suspect that all the characters and not just Pauline would have a voiceover in the story, except for the NPC and classic Kong characters. At least that's what I thought till I saw this footage from Shaq News, displaying a part of the gameplay where they are jamming with the Kong Elder. And although there's an actual dialogue story, the Kong Elder's dialogue didn't seem to be English at all. So in that sense, Razi would have been correct with the gibberish dialogue, but what if I told you that wasn't the case? In fact, the language that the Kong Bananza was speaking in might actually be the Bananabet language, being universally iterated by all the characters, even the NPCs, with the exception of Pauline because of her English and DK because he doesn't talk much. The Bananabet language has been widely hinted out in the fanbase and the Switch 2 experience, and it was talked about by Game Rant, IGN, and game explained from YouTube to the point where lots of fans attempted to decipher it. So yeah, Nintendo made their own Bananza language, and it won't be their first time given how they did the same thing with Prime 4 Beyond. Just check out my reaction in this video. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but that alien language was like poetry. There's also another thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's the language barrier between English and Banana Beck. Because despite Pauline only understanding English, she seemed to understand what the Elder Kong was trying to imply, despite not interpreting it in English. So I guess they deleted the whole concept of language barriers in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised since DK Bananza isn't the first game of its kind to do that. In fact, Tekken 8 had a lot of mixed up languages with absolutely zero language barrier. Now that is what you would call insane. As for the world experience, I wouldn't really call DK Bananza an open world game, and it's pretty much level by level based like Mario Odyssey. But the world of DK Bananza is much more wider than Mario Odyssey. In fact, every world that you visit in DK Bananza would feel like an open world experience, although not as much as the actual open world experience game. But you are still given the freedom to travel through a wide world that feels less static than the experience with Mario Odyssey. Speaking of the world's flexibility in DK Bananza, let's not forget that you have the ability to reshape the world, but not entirely in your control in some sense. DK has the freedom to destroy the entire world, because DK can basically destroy everything on his path, whether it would be a rock or the ground itself, to the point where he can even destroy the entire world, which you can reset afterwards through the pause menu. As for having Pauline as a helper, this actually depends on your perspective, because like I said before, Cappy is a pretty good partner and the main attraction of the Mario Odyssey game, although it doesn't really make much difference when you're playing in 2-player mode. But what about Pauline? Well, she is certainly not a Cappy. She can't really help DK in capturing enemies or do some awesome platforming tricks, but that still leaves off her singing powers. You can use Pauline's singing to both guide you through the game and help you with accessing locked gates, which doesn't really seem that impressive so far. But let us not forget the Bananza transformations, which are considered the main highlight of Pauline's powers and DK Bananza itself. We literally have access to both Gear 4 and Super Saiyan 4 in one game. This cannot get more peak than that. So the abilities Mario unlocks with capturing enemies, DK can accomplish twice as much with his transformation. There's also the fact that DK can transform anywhere, while Mario can only capture enemies in certain places. Although I can't really lie, Mario's platforming abilities with Cappy are still peak. Although unless you break the game or you're a speedrunner, you can't really access every part of the world, while DK can pretty much do that thanks to his climbing ability, pretty much similar to other open world games that I know of. Are we sure this game isn't really open world? Still, I'm gonna have to give the W to Mario Odyssey due to the incredible platforming stunts that you can make in Mario Odyssey thanks to Cappy's platforming, although I am not so sure about its 2-player mode compared to DK Bananza. Cappy can help with both capturing and hurting enemies, although sometimes not hurting them as much, but with DK Bananza's 2-player mode, Pauline can actually make a difference, because the 2-player mode gives Pauline an additional power to materialize her singing powers into rock-based words that do a lot of damage, just like the solid script magic used by Levi McGarden in Fairy Tail. Yeah, Nintendo about to sue Fairy Tail for copyright, I'm just saying. Even though Fairy Tail was the one that originated solid script magic. Razi even compared Pauline to the orange star in Mario Galaxy 2, and not gonna lie, it does give us that vibe. Although I'm pretty sure that Pauline's materialized word powers are much stronger than the star bits in Mario Galaxy. At this point, who even needs the Bananza Baby mode when you have 2-player mode to make the job easy and more fun compared to Baby mode? And speaking of Pauline's materializing singing powers and all of the game's rocky background, this somehow reminds me of an irony that I spoke about in my last video, and I just want to expand on that a bit. So we all know that in the Switch 1 generation, they sold us cardboards, and now with the Switch 2 console generation, with the console having the potential to brick on you, paying for $20 amiibos just to get give you some rocks in DK Bananza. It seems very funny to me how Nintendo is shifting from selling cardboards to selling stones. And now trust me on this, there might be more stones being released as we speak. And who knows, maybe with the next generation after Switch 2, Nintendo might even sell us pieces of wood or plastic. So yeah, it is pretty much obvious that DK Bananza has a lot of aspects that are comparable to Mario Odyssey, especially given that the Odyssey team worked on the game. But with what we know so far about DK Bananza, it is obvious that it is an upgraded version of Mario Odyssey itself. In fact, I have already predicted that the sole purpose of creating Mario Odyssey, other than highlighting hats and cap partners, is to highlight Pauline's singing talent and hint out Pauline using her musical talent in future games, or rather make her a main character with her musical talent. In Mario Odyssey, you can only meet Pauline in New Donk City, one of 17 kingdoms in the game. And despite that, the trailers keep showcasing New Donk City as the main background of the game, along with the side dish of jump up in the air background music, which is sung by none other than, you guessed it, Pauline. And let's not forget, the kingdom is called New Donk City. Now they may have called it that way to reference the original Mario vs. DK game, but after how much they have made Pauline the star of the trailers, even though the game is not about Mario vs. DK, but rather flying caps, you can argue in a way that Mario Odyssey's existence is just a hint to a future game relating to both DK and Pauline. And surprise, surprise, we now have DK Bananza, which is arguably a prequel to Mario Odyssey. I will prove that later. But the point that I am trying to make is that Mario Odyssey may have been a very good game at the start, but its entire existence and concept is just a stepping stone to DK Bananza, which is why we are seeing a lot of aspects of DK Bananza being 100 times better to Mario Odyssey. But let's not lose hope, guys. This could hint out that the next Mario 3D game is going to be just as good as DK Bananza, if not better. And by that point, it's going to be 100 times better than Mario Odyssey. Let's not forget about the game's leveling system that helps us unlock even more gaming mechanics during the gameplay, while Mario Odyssey's gaming mechanics are limited to what you can do with jumping and capping. Speaking of unlockable abilities, someone spotted in the Japanese Direct that you can apparently also unlock abilities for the transformations as well. And there is also what appears to be 2 extra spots in the far right. Now, I can't really remember the specific YouTuber's name that revealed this, but then again, he wasn't the only YouTuber that revealed it, so I guess it now stands as general analysis that isn't revealed to the whole public yet. Although this specific YouTuber discovered and speculated something that the other YouTubers didn't even think about, and that's the true identity of those transformations. If someone knows the name of that said YouTuber, I really want to give credit to him, so make sure to comment his name down below. Also, just a quick update, people are slowly talking more about the giraffe and elephant bonanzas, which makes it harder for me to give credit to the original YouTuber that talked about it first. The comment section can really help me by now. He actually predicted that the transformations may be a giraffe and an elephant. Now, I know what you're saying, these transformations seem very unlikely with DK's build, but the same can be said with both zebra and ostrich transformations. He somehow still maintains his own build while only transforming both the head and sometimes the hands and feet. So just imagine those new transformations as the Kong transformation with only the heads of the giraffe and elephant. Now, how did he discover the identities of those transformations? So first off, the first step to identifying the Bananza transformations relies on the terrain environment in which the form originates. For the Kong Bananza, you see a terrain full of Kongs. For the Zebra Bananza, you see a terrain full of zebras, and the same applies for the Ostrich Bananza. So this already kind of proves to us that there are going to be a minimum of 5 terrains in the game. Well, if you check out the footage where they initially showcased the terrains, and you pause the video right there. Now, I don't really know the names of the crystal people in the game, so make sure to comment it down below, but nonetheless, this crystal person right here is shaped like a giraffe. Now, let me explain. Was anyone able to find a hint of the giraffe elder in the game? Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Okay then what about the NPCs? No NPCs here. I double checked the video. I double checked the Switch 2 experience gameplays. Nothing of that sort. So does that mean that the giraffe Bananza is a speculation that has risen because of the giraffe-shaped crystal person? Well, that is not entirely true, because I never said that the people of the terrain determine the Bananza form, but rather the environment. So other than the people, there are going to be other hints such as the carvings or stone statues, or maybe even the crystal people themselves, determining that the fourth terrain is going to be a giraffe Bananza. Now what about the elephant Bananza? Yeah, believe it or not, Nintendo was kinda sneaky with this one. The Direct wanted you to focus on Pauline's epic song along with a lot of scenes right at the end of the Direct. But if you really focus on that video and pause right there, you can actually detect what seems to be an elephant NPC, directly hinting on the elephant Bananza form. Speaking of Bananza forms, let's not forget to talk about the person who helps activate them. I am talking about none other than Pauline. We have already talked about her singing talent as an adult and the immense amount of help she gives to DK as a partner, especially in two-player mode. These all lead to these specific set of chapters entirely focusing on Pauline's mysterious singing powers, which was already hinted at the end of the Direct in this specific scene. The same mysterious power that I am going to expand on in the rest of this video. I mean, sure, DK deserves some credit in the game, but as far as we are told in the Direct, Pauline feels more like a main character compared to DK in DK Bananza, similar to Fairy Tail where Lucy is the actual protagonist, although most of the screen time goes to Natsu. Yeah, I am telling you guys, Nintendo versus Fairy Tail, this lawsuit is going to happen. So I wanted to start off this chapter by stating how wrong I was about the actual story of the game. Not entirely though, but in a few aspects. But after rewatching the Direct again, let's go back to what we know about the story. So given that she's a human being, we know that Pauline is from the surface. The next thing we know, Void Kong captured Pauline and imprisoned her inside of a purple rock. Amidst the chaos caused by Void Kong, she manages to escape and later meets DK. And although she had her trust issues, she slowly trusts Donkey Kong through his whistle singing, and they work together to find a way back to the surface, which is somehow tied to the planet core. Now the question we should be asking is why Void Kong would go through all this trouble to capture a specific single child. So reviewing the facts from the Direct again, Void Kong's goal is to reach the planet core. Now back in my reaction video, my initial thought along with Rosie's was that the planet core was full of bananas, because then again, it is a DK game. There are always bananas at the end of the line. But the story in the game is very different as the planet core has more than just bananas. The Direct's narrator hinted out that the planet core has something that can fulfill a wish. A wish that Void Kong wants to exploit to rule the world. And given how the game is not just tied to bananas but also singing too, Void Kong could have captured any famous singer on the surface. But he chose to capture a specific child with a miraculous voice. Now for all you freaks out there, the reason isn't because he's a pedo, although we can't rule that out given he's a villain, but rather because of her singing powers. Void Kong needs Pauline so he can fulfill his wish. In fact, if you still don't believe me, Pauline's singing powers are further hinted in the Kong Bananza elders' headphones and drip. I mean, not gonna lie though, those elders have that drip on though. I mean, look at the boombox, them rings, them shades and J's. Those are my kind of elders, bro. They keep up with the times, you know what I'm saying? Now, other than that sick drip they got on, I wanted to focus your attention on the headphones, which pretty much highlight the music aspect of the game, relating to the concept of songs, therefore directly relating to the importance of Pauline's singing powers. And let's not forget, Pauline's singing powers is the only way to activate DK's Bananza transformation. She is not just a helper like Cappy, but rather a main key character in the whole story. And with DK playing as the muscle, combined with Pauline as a powerful magical entity, they non-ironically make make the best duo in the game. This isn't a brains and muscles combo, but rather a resulting combination of a magical powerhouse entity. Another reason why DK Bananza is going to be better than Mario Odyssey. So this is everything that we know so far about Pauline's singing powers, but we may be seeing more hints and abilities with those powers as the story progresses. And just as I implied before, her singing powers are tied to the planet core, meaning that she might unlock a brand new power at the end of the game, or give DK a new Bananza form that transcends the rest, or maybe even both. My bet is on Super Saiyan Gear 5 DK. Please add a white fur in the final Bananza form, please. Now moving on to our next topic, there have been a lot of rumors and speculations around DK Bananza where they keep talking about the reveal and the arrival of Bombardiro. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry guys. I promise I do not do brain rot. Please do not unsubscribe to this channel, I beg of you. And I'm pretty sure Nintendo would not brick my console for that, would they?
Okay, we're bricking your Switch 2 for that.
No. Wait.
Okay, but anyways, moving back to our actual topic, there are a lot of rumors surrounding that K. Rool is going to be in the game. Even in a game without a single presence of King K. Rool, he still steals the spotlight out of the whole DK franchise. And to be honest, I'm not even surprised. The king of all crocodiles, who's only found in the nostalgic DK country, was released in Smash Ultimate in full HD. What more do you want me to say? To be honest, I wouldn't blame them for having that mindset, given that all the rock monsters that we have seen so far are references to crocodiles, aka King K. Rool. But then again, the truth of the matter is that King K. Rool being in DK Bananza is going to be full of copium. Yes, we have seen lots of hints of crocodiles being in the game, but that is just part of Nintendo's nostalgia strategy with both DK Bananza and Mario Kart World. With both Mario Kart World and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, just because both games reference old tracks doesn't mean that they have to bring back characters from the games where those tracks originate. And the same case might be with DK Bananza. A lot of DK characters, which are not just King K. Rool, are not being added to DK Bananza, despite DK Bananza having references of the old DK games. I'm gonna talk more about the nostalgia factor when I talk about the redesign of the Nintendo characters in a future video. But yeah, this is my reason why King K. Rool is not going to be in DK Bananza, although I am one of the people that really want him to be in the game. And speaking of coping, not gonna lie, I know I shouldn't be surprised, but I actually am about the amount of cope they are giving for King K. Rool being in DK Bananza. And with game analysts joining the coping parties such as Game Explain, I will never see game analysts the same way. It ruined my sleeping schedule thinking about the amount of cope people are giving King K. Rool. And knowing myself that it's most likely impossible, I almost joined the coping session myself. This is the amount of love and copium people are showing for both Smash Ultimate and DK games. But then again, I am telling you one last time, we will not be seeing the same thing with DK Bananza. So that is it guys, this is everything that we know so far about DK Bananza, and not gonna lie, that was a lot to talk about. I really thought that I would be posting gameplay videos by now, but then so much has been revealed about those Nintendo games that I had to talk about it. It also feels like a punishment for myself for assuming wrong information during the analytics part of my direct reaction video. Hopefully I would have time to post some gameplay videos, especially with Mario Kart and DK Bananza, but with all the information about the Switch 2 being revealed, I might be busy posting more videos talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. And let's hope that I will be able to buy the Steam Deck by then. But now without further ado, hi, my name is Suli, and this is my full analysis about DK Bananza. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below if I missed or misinterpreted a piece of information. Join my social links in the description, and I hope to see you guys in my unboxing video later. Let it be known that I have already unboxed the Switch 2 a long time ago, and I recorded the unboxing, but I never posted the video on time. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be glad to see you soon. Suli, zeroing out.